So Jay Leno made some comments. He says comedians should adapt their jokes to fit cancel culture. You should adapt yourself out of fear of being cancelled for words. So he couldn't be more wrong if he tried. He thinks you should just live your life in fear, constantly walking on eggshells, in case you offend a tiny, tiny amount of people. Most people should have learned by now, the more you give in to these people, the more they come for. Till we get to the point where you can't even joke about the simplest things. So how people don't understand this is beyond me. It's like, yeah, they come for the racist jokes, then they'll come for the next thing, and then eventually you won't be able to joke about one single thing. You won't be able to joke about anything. These people that they don't sleep, they don't rest, they're just constantly offended. So when you start censoring yourself, you're under their control. You're no more than a puppet of flesh and bone. That's about it. That's all you are. Comedians are supposed to push the boundaries. That's what their job is. And this is like, you might as well just go and spit on the graves of like Lenny Bruce and George Carlin and people like that. These people fought to make it fine to joke about anything, but you've got Jay Leno who just wants to hand it back to them. He thinks this is moving forward, but it's moving backward. And I reckon a lot of people are lost respect for him now. You know, it may sound harsh to some, but see people that bend the knee to these little pompous children. You're the definition of weak. You would think by now, like comedians and that would know how to handle these types of people. You let them kick, you let them scream. The louder they scream, the harder you go. You make a mockery of them. Because this is all about controlling language. This is what it's about. Because they can't control laughter, they go for the comedian, control what he says, so then we're not laughing at stuff like that anymore. The former late-night talk show host explained that comedians have to change their jokes to fit the changing times. I think it's like any other thing, you either change or die. The comedian has been on the receiving end of cancel culture when he was criticised for his history of racist jokes about Asian Americans. During the podcast interview, The Tonight Show alum also explained his metamorphosis in the comedy industry and likened the change to being an athlete. In football, you have certain rules, and when the rules change, if you don't conform to them, you're out of the game. You know, I was always of the understanding that comedians were supposed to be smart. Clearly, that isn't Jay Leno's forte. Comparing it to football, that's not even the same thing. He then confessed that in the past, comedians could make sexist, racist, and homophobic jokes without much consequence. It's because they're jokes, and people used to understand that they were jokes. Now, everybody has a voice. You have to change the material to the times you live in. My attitude is, look, these are the new rules. And the new rules made by who? Who comes up with these new rules on what you can and can't joke about? Who are these people? First of all, they're the people that will never show up or pay for a ticket to see your comedy. That's where these new rules are set by people who ain't never going to give you any money to see you. Or any comedian for that matter. They just see something on the internet and they go, you can't joke about that. And either it's all okay or none of it's okay. You don't get to pick and choose. But he continues, you want to adapt, if you don't, fine. Don't get up and tell jokes then. So I don't know who he thinks he is. To sit there and lecture other comedians about what they should and shouldn't be joking about. So it would be different. See if he was just saying, oh, well, I'm doing this. But to sit there and lecture other people about what they should be joking about, go fuck yourself. But it's basically, because he submitted, he wants everyone else to do the same. So I think that's what it's, because he feels a little lonely on his lonely island, because he's conformed to these new rules, whatever they are. He wants to be joined by loads of other people. The Jay Leno's Garage host apologised for his recent comment. Well, they're not racist comments, they're jokes. See, so now you're taking the word joke and you're replacing it with comments. But people think, oh well, comedy is about punching up. You can never punch down. there's no fucking rules on it. Everyone gets the piss taken out of them. So he had a Zoom call with some guy. Doesn't really matter who he is. At the time, so during the Zoom call, Leno explained at the time there was a prevailing attitude that some group is always complaining about something, so don't worry about it. Whenever we received a complaint, there would be two sides to the discussion. Either we need to deal with this or screw them if they can't take a joke. Too many times I sided with the latter, even when in my heart I knew it was wrong. I'm sure you did. I am issuing this apology. I do not consider this particular case to be another example of cancel culture, but a legitimate wrong that was done on my part. Mana has been very gracious in accepting my apology. No, they're accepting your submission. But if we jump to this article that came out in March, this is from the whole thing where he apologised. And you can see right down here, he submitted and now they want more of him. They want him to do more for them. Now they own him. Mana President Rob Chan released a statement on Wednesday applauding Leno's words. I'm happy that Jay came around and that we will be working together in the future. We look forward to supporting Jay's efforts to do a better job at using his public platform to stamp out systemic racism. So now they want more. Now you have to do more, Jay. Do you understand now? As soon as you submit, they come for more and more. Until there's no person left. And that's your mistake. I mean, it's not that hard just to go, no. See these people that constantly complain about what jokes you can tell and what you can't. It's like, you can deal with them simply by ignoring them or telling them no. That's all it takes. But people like Jay Leno are obviously too soft. They're weak. Like I said, it may seem harsh to some, but no, these people are weak. It's all good and fine. See if he wants to do this, but it's when he's sitting lecturing everyone else about what they should be doing. As if he's the grand master of comedy. I mean, the guy's like in his 70s. Why does he feel the need to pander to these people now? It's like you're almost at the end. Why do you feel the need? What's the point? What are you getting out of it? The only thing this has done is damaged his leg. Well, for whoever were fans of him. Now fans of him will be like, oh, not that guy. But he seems to think that, see if you don't adapt to with these new rules, therefore you're going to fade away. When it's actually the people that take heed of the new rules, those are the people that no one's going to turn up to see. Because if you need to conform to these, whatever rules, then you've got nothing left to offer. I don't see any way how you can be funny when you're constantly just walking on eggshells. You go constantly going, oh, I don't know if I can do... No, well, you're under control then. You're in their control. And as I said at the start, you're no more than a puppet of flesh and bone. That's it. You're someone else's puppet. You're someone else's mouthpiece. But he's not the first comedian to come out and say shit like this. There's been a couple. You did have Seth Rogen, but I wouldn't really call him a comedian, because he's not a comedian, he's an asshole. He is an asshole now anyway. But he was mirroring this same sort of shit. There's been a few other comedians. So it would have been different if he just said, well, I don't do those jokes, but to sit there and go, that's what everyone else should be doing. Because him doing this, he gives them more power by coming out and saying shit like this. They now think they have more power, which means they'll try and they'll go after people even harder. But this is what happens when you submit. Like we've seen in the other article. He apologised. He let them know, like, they smelt blood. They smelt blood in the water and they came for him. He apologised, and now he's stuck in where he's got to fight systemic racism. That's what he's got to do now. Because he gave in to the mob. But yeah, I don't think they realise, but when a comedian says this stuff, like, people lose respect for them. They go, oh, well, you're no good then, are you? You're no good for free speech, whatever it may be. For me, there's no rules on what you can and can't joke about everything. Everything's on the table. I don't care how dark or sick it is, because the fact is, they're called jokes. It's literally in the name of them. You know, racist joke. It says joke in the thing. It means it's a joke. It means it's not truthful. But you got like people come, oh well, that's punching down. Comedy is all about punching up. Comedy is all about talking truth to power. No, comedy is about laughing. It's like you could you in certain cases mock the power, but to purely think that's what it's all about. It's all about no, we don't punch down. Oh, you can't make a joke about a homeless man. Oh, you can't joke about this. There's no rule. There's no rules. Everybody, I like being mocked. It doesn't bother me. But that's all I got to say on that anyway. So if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.